Now, I was accountable because I was trading in front of thousands of people. During the pandemic, when everyone was online, it was thousands of people. So if the trade didn't work out, I couldn't then go and revenge trade it because I just looked like a massive hypocrite.
Yeah.
So I had a really high level of accountability. You imagine you were giving access to someone your trading account just in a read-only way. What would they think if they saw your trading plan, assuming you didn't have one, and then what you actually did on your account?
Simon?
Hello.
Are robots taking over the world? Are robots taking over the trading industry?
Good question. We could ask ChatGPT.
Simon?
Hello.
Today I'd like to talk to you about AI and their impact on the current trading landscape. We have got a good question from a trader from America, USA. Noah, he asks, as AI technology advances, do you believe that an AI model trained on the markets could eventually eliminate the need for individuals to learn how to trade?
Well, I mean, on an institutional level, algorithms and AI essentially have been in the markets for a long time in that respect. So the question is it going to sort of filter down into the retail market? Now, we had sort of like EAs and things like that people use. But yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's ultimately just pattern recognition, isn't it? But I guess the chicken and egg question is, where do the patterns come from? Are the patterns created by the flawed psychology of traders, human traders, making irrational and emotional decisions, or are they sort of more deeper than that? And so it's a tricky one. Yeah, I certainly think AI is going to help people with technical analysis. It's going to help people potentially. I see a great benefit of, like, if you get AI to analyze your trading plan. Say you've got a trading plan, you then take a set of trades and you can ask the AI, did I stick to my trading plan? The AI says, no, you're a dumbass. And then gives you, well, maybe if I program it, but then it gives you sort of like specific feedback. Here's where you didn't manage your risk. Here's where you took a revenge trade and stuff like that. So I see that as maybe a hybrid type sort of relationship.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was already so prevailing. Like, they are already running the markets essentially, and then our job as retail traders, because we are retail traders, is just to try and pick up on the patterns that are like displayed for you. But these computers aren't seeing the charts the way we see them. They're seeing them as like equations, fractions, like numbers, like volume, and it's just wild. I think what you mentioned there about semi-automated AI would be really, really cool way to go. Like, if you could do a sample size of say 100 trades, and then you get told, look, 50 of those trades were not valid, you shouldn't have taken them, next time do X, Y and Z, then I think that would be a really cool way of doing it. Because traders talk about being emotionless, but then how emotionless do we need to be until we're essentially the robots? You know, that's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting. But yeah, super fascinating question from Noah. I just sort of think, what do we currently have in the markets that is AI? Like, what are people using right now for trading, which is supplied by AI or something like that?
I think people are just asking, from what I can see, people are just asking sort of questions about things. You know, some sort of statistical questions. If I put X, Y, and Z in, what's the output? And people are asking about news events. People are asking about trading psychology. I'm not sure there's sort of a direct input that I'm aware of yet where people are able to say to AI, just take these trades for me. But I'm sure it won't be long coming. I'm sure there'll be lots of people willing to sell it when it does come, regardless of whether it works or not. It'll be sort of like an evolution of scammy EAs. But so
an upgrade.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, the market needs to move. In order for the market to move, people have to believe the market's either underpriced or overpriced. You know, the simplistic fundamentals remain the same. So it'll be interesting to see how it evolves. I mean, AI is going to impact all areas of our life. I mean, I'd have actually bothered going to university now, because I could have just cheated my way through it and got AI to write everything instead of being lazy like I was at 18. But so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I mean, James, our COO and CTO, is extremely sort of interested in AI, and he was showing me a really fancy sort of advanced paid for version of ChatGPT and asking it about trading and strategies and things like that. And so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it accompanies and supports traders.
I've seen a couple of video series of like low key of traders who are searching, going on my ChatGPT trading series. I asked ChatGPT to make me a trading strategy, X, Y, and Z, and they might work for one or two trades, and then you just see it. So I'm just thinking, surely for trading to continue, like for the world to keep spinning, AI cannot be the solution, because if it was that easy, everybody would do it. So the world needs us retail traders to still be part of the losing trades and giving liquidity for all these big banks. So I'm just sort of thinking that there's no way that AI is just going to sort of suddenly all of a sudden go, yeah, here's a perfect trading strategy, 100% win rate. And that's where my fear is, where people do believe that exists. And we've seen it with the expert advisor side of the industry, where people sell you this gold scalper, PIP EA, where 100 trades, 100 winners, this kind of thing. So I'm just sort of worried that it doesn't go into that direction. But again, what do you think the benefits are of AI currently that we do have for our disposal? Not sort of like this fairy dust what's to come kind of thing. What do you think the current benefits of AI in trading are?
And for trading, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a case of, I guess you put your strategies to it, and you can ask it what your sort of expectancy and probability is. You can ask it about news events. You can ask about historic sort of volatility and things like that. So I think it's just a case of picking up snippets of information, almost just like shortcutting rather than Googling, if you like. I mean, I'm not extensively experienced with AI, to be fair, just because it's just like, well, it's something new. Someone will tell me about it in the future and the good bits, and thrash out all the good bits and work out all the bad bits. So I don't have to do it myself. So it's not something I'd personally use. I mean, the way the markets move at the moment, they just seem to move in the same ways they've always moved to me. Maybe quite volatile at the moment, but volatility ebbs and flows. So, but it will be certainly interesting to see how people do sort of take AI and adopt it and change it, and how it becomes relevant for trading.
No, that is super interesting. So you don't use AI for your everyday trading, but if you could become this sort of robotic, flawless version of yourself, and what sort of elements from AI would you bring into like your trading plan? And if you were still trading, what sort of robotic features or advanced intelligence features would you bring into your everyday trading?
Yeah, it's the psychology that gets in the way of traders. Anyone who's traded knows we all get interested in like technical analysis, indicators, charts, buying and selling, because that's the sexy side, that's the fun side. What we don't like is the psychological side, because it's very, very challenging. And everyone who's listening to me now who's traded knows how difficult it is to, when the market does that thing to you where it comes down, just stops you out and goes back in your direction.
That's the worst feeling
it sucks.
ever.
It makes you feel like the market's against you, doesn't it, when it happens?
And you revenge buy.
Exactly. Then you revenge trade and all that stuff. Whereas, if you've got a robot and EA, even EA, it'd be something like AI is doing it. It doesn't care. It's just ones and noughts. It's binary. So the thing to try and take away from that is, how can you control your emotions? Now, the big mistake people make is they think you should be emotionless when trading. It's like, you shouldn't feel fear and stuff like that.
Humans,
and it's like, well, don't be stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, you look at elite sports people, someone who's taking a penalty in a World Cup final, they control their emotions. They're still there.
But if it goes against them, they're still upset afterwards, obviously.
Exactly, and that's just part of being human. So, the more advanced trading psychology is about embracing that and monitoring it and controlling it, not this simplistic sort of trading psychology of, you will feel no fear when you trade, and that's just nonsense, because that's not going to happen for most people unless the sort of
that's why I feel mechanical strategies, they are good, but again they're just so hard to follow, because they might work 10, 20, 30 times, but we are going to slip up, whether it's once, twice, a few times. And then once you make that first mistake, it's that domino effect. So like you mentioned, you take a trade which was slightly against your plan, for example, because you need to meet X target by X, Y, and Z, or there's just so many factors, isn't it? I think that's why trading psychology is so big. Is there any rules that you used to set yourself just to make sure you didn't make the silly mistakes that we all know traders can make?
Yeah, so accountability is a huge one. Now, I was accountable because I was trading in front of sometimes thousands of people. During the pandemic, when everyone was online, it was thousands of people. So, I couldn't sort of have my chart. I used to display my charts on screen. I couldn't just say, I'm long here. And you'd see the P&L because it was actually on the charts. And then if the trade didn't work out, I couldn't then go and revenge trade it, because I just looked like a massive hypocrite.
Yeah.
So I had a really high level of accountability. So I think people need to develop their own accountability. And that's what's so good about prop firms, is the fact you're accountable to the rules, you're accountable to the people who are giving you the funding and things like that. So I think that's sort of a sweet spot, really. But if people want to enhance it to a further degree, then they can be involved in the trading community. They could, imagine you were giving access to someone your trading account just in a read-only way, so they couldn't go nuts and start losing all your money. What would they think if they saw your trading plan, assuming you even have one, and then what you actually did on your account? Because markets go sideways more than they trend. You get away with scaling in. So you take a position, it goes against you. Take another position, it takes against you. Yeah. And a lot of times you'll get away with that until you don't, and you get screwed and you lose your entire account. So that's the insidious nature of the markets, is that it'll reward you for doing stupid stuff, which in a lot of other walks of life that doesn't really happen. You do something stupid, you get a negative consequence for it. Whereas in trading, it can't. So that's a big issue. But yeah, journaling's very good, because one of the one of the best things to do is capture how you're feeling at the time, because we're not designed, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but if you have a negative event in your life, providing it's not horrendous, catastrophic, your brain's not designed to dwell on that, and it's, suppress it and things like that. So you have a few revenge trades, you feel horrendous about your trading, and then like the next day you'll probably feel all right about it because your brain's not designed to dwell on it. So if you capture the emotions and the feelings and what the consequences were at the time, then it's much easier to sort of reflect and put yourself back into that headspace.
Yeah, and you touched on it before about being traders wanting to be emotionless and how like treat trading like a business, but trading isn't a business, so is it? It's more of a job, because you've still got to show up every day. Like if trading is your full-time job, it's a job. You've still got, say for example you trade the New York session, you've still got to show up between those hours every single day, and if you don't, you're not going to get rewarded for it. So I think the consistency, I think anybody can be consistent for a week, 2 weeks. I think only the top 1%, top 2% can stay consistent over the quarter, year. And I think that's how I think the super traders must have some sort of AI like designed in their brain where they can like just uphold that all this pressure and external stress, because again, 1 month doing it, cool, but a year doing it, 2 years doing it, 3 years doing it, that's where like I think that's, if I wanted to like be an AI, that's what my sort of strength would be, just sort of like consistency, do you know?
Yeah.
Like,
well, there's a few trains of thoughts. I mean, one is that, when I read sort of a lot of Mark Douglas's work, I don't like all his work, but I like his anecdotal stuff when he was on the trading floor, and the people who did the best were the people who didn't give a shit about money. Or people who were sort of neurodivergent, who didn't feel the same sort of emotions in that respect. Or people, and on the flip side, you have people who treat it like it's an elite sport, like Steve Ward, who's a big trading psychologist who I interviewed once. He will go to the degree where they'll swab people's saliva and measure cortisol, the stress hormone, based on different diets and sleep patterns and things like that. So that's the level of competition that you can be at as well. And yeah, people, it isn't like a normal business or job. I mean, people, you'll have people saying dumb shit like, "Oh, it's like a business, just like buying stock for your shop." Well, it doesn't feel like that, does it? It's not buying potatoes so you can go and sell a load of chips. So it is. They'll say it's a cost doing business, but it doesn't feel like that because it's so direct. And there's not many occupations where you do something right and you still lose money. Like you can have an amazing trading week where you're super disciplined, you've taken all the right entries, and it's just not worked out. You've just had a cluster of 5 losing trades. You've lost money, and you've got to try and feel good about that. It's so difficult. It's like I've done the right things that I know in the long term will be to my benefit, but I've lost money, and that's a very difficult thing to get your head around. That I'll be excited when AI can sort of replace me, so I don't have to really do any work, and get CEO AI, so I can just.
Well, there's a few of those CEOs, AI CEOs on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be great. And I can just sit and play computer games and get fat and eat food. That'd be amazing. Once it gets to that stage, I'll be happy.
Well, on that note, thanks for watching the latest episode of We Are Funny Trading Plus, the podcast. We will be back next week with a new episode, so stay tuned.